the Anfield Wrap post-match pint after Bournemouth 3, Liverpool 2. The Reds' unbeaten run has come to an end with a pretty dreadful second half, a dreadful performance really overall from the Reds. I'm almost speechless after that absolute sickener at the end there. I'm Neil Dockin here with Shaun O'Donnell, Kev Reilly, and I just think the Reds have turned it into a basketball game at the end there. They've turned it into a game where it's going to be a coin toss who wins it. Every time Bournemouth went forward, they looked like scoring. And the sucker punch when it comes from a long throw, it's not unexpected. We've seen it before this season. They're not good enough at the moment. They're simply not good enough. They've played well in the middle of the week. They've gone to Marseille, got a really impressive result, really impressive performance, and then it's come the weekend and they're fucking shite again.
Yeah, I think I go further than that. I think it's pathetic. I think it's an embarrassing performance where, yes, and it's so like sort of everything we've seen this season is we can get to the final third, we can do all that, that's great, but we don't look a threat. At any point in the game, we don't look a threat, and I feel like we played well, or we controlled the game for the first 20 minutes or whatever, and then we just first chance goal, second chance goal. That's pathetic. That's not what we need to be doing. Even if you want to come top four, you can't be doing that. And I just feel like we try our best to let them off the hook. We try our best to come up with excuses. I think we'll look at them players today and just go, that is not what you need to be doing if you want to play for Liverpool Football Club. And I know it's a bit brutal, I know it's a bit heavy, but that is where we are. We're not in a situation where, like, yeah, all right, we could have nicked it at the end, but they nicked it. And it's like we're in a situation where nothing seems to be clicking, nothing seems to be going right, and something needs to be answered here, because I honestly, I'm fuming.
I mean, Slot's dealing with issues, he's dealing with absences, but Bournemouth have got an injury-ravaged squad. They're 15th in the league. They've won one game in months.
They've won one game in 12, Neil. Well, they've won two in 13 now. And what's staggering is, all of the lead-up to this game was about Bournemouth's lack of depth, no substitutes, massive injury issues. From 60 onwards, they will struggle. One win in 12. Systematically and historically, in 6 years of management, Reilly has struggled second half of seasons. And of course, the narrative was written that Liverpool show up and get fucking beat at the Vitality by these cunts. I mean, where to begin? I agree with Shaun in that the performance was pretty decent up until a mad 10 minutes. Can I just get straight into Virgil? Because why is he waving his hands around after that? You've done a daft thing. Now your best centre-back partnership that we have available is injured because of you, and you're waving your arms about. For me, it needs to be about accountability, and it needs to be that hand up, and I've really fucked it there. The hands up thing, you know, where were you? That doesn't cut the mustard for me. And then the second one, I'm going to be super harsh because of the first one. If the second one happens without the first one, I'll maybe park it. But the second one, your line's dictated by where Kirkes is, and you've got perfect visibility of where Kirkes is because he's right in front of you. Step up. And I'm not being funny. If that was Kanate, he would be getting daggers for that. He'd be getting a lot of shit for that, and he has got a lot of shit for his mistakes. But we need to say, this is the captain of Liverpool. We know he's better. We demand better because he is the best at what he does. And to put your team in that position within 10 minutes, you're asking a hell of a lot of a climb back after that.
So it goes without saying, I love Virgil van Dijk, as we all do. But that's not the first time this season that this has happened, and it's not the first time this season where you've looked at him and gone, "Whoa, like you've given away a chance there, or you've given away a goal." And I think that's what we're looking at. I think the guilt in his eyes after he scores, you can tell he knows. It
was almost like a hand up, wasn't it? It was almost the apology.
Atoning for his errors.
Exactly, and it's such a horrible situation that we're in because we love these people, we love these players, and they're the ones that are letting us down at the moment. And listen, Van Dijk, I'd hate to say that he's, as a man, letting us down, because he's not, because everything he does on a much broader level, he's not letting us down. But I feel like there's just too many moments this season where you go, actually, you are at fault there, and we need to talk about it, because he is at fault at the end of the day. Kanate's got so much stick this season, as you just rightly said, but like, His sponsors talking his interview here, but Van Dijk has not been perfect.
Well, we're always going to be ready to make excuses for him because he has been one of the greatest centre halves in the club's history. Unbelievable player for the Reds. He has so much credit in the bank.
Which, by the way, is such a mad statement because we've had some of the best centre halves in the world play for us.
Yeah, undoubtedly, and one of the greatest centre halves of the Premier League era. I don't want to write him off. He's aging or whatever, but last season the title win was founded on the performances of Mohamed Salah in attack and Virgil van Dijk at the back. They were the two players I thought were crucial to the title win, and neither have come to the party this season in any way, shape or form.
You have to ask the question, right? So they're both playing for contracts last year, and Mo very publicly was playing for a contract. Van Dijk plays for his contract. And I don't want to go down this route of slaughtering them because of they've got the big money and then they're not interested anymore. But you've got to ask the question, we're going to the game every week, we're still paying our season ticket money, we're still paying all this, we're still going, and there's an obvious drop off as far as I'm concerned. And yet I'm a bit emotional now because of the results in the last minute winner. But I'm looking at Van Dijk going, you're not the same. You're just not the same. I'm looking at Mo Salah going, you're not the same. So he goes clean through today or gets a pass that puts him through, and it's not the Mo Salah that we know. Even though that he tries to cut across, it's a different Mo Salah, different Van Dijk, and I feel like we're at the point now where the drop off has been that heavy. We've got to start saying it. We've got to start talking about these lads and saying, are we holding them to account enough? Because yes, we love them. Yes, they've done amazing things for the club. But actually, we want to win now. We want to win this season. We don't want to just be like, oh yeah, play the legends. Because honestly, I'm just.
The thing with what Shaun's just said is so valid. Why was it that when they were playing for the contracts that they were doing so well? Because what ties into that is when we're playing in Europe and we're playing in big sides and we're playing against Arsenal, and we've had a terrible run. We've had an unbeaten run that we wouldn't say is classic. But against the big teams, I think we would all agree we're fairly happy with these performances. Why is it when we show up against these lower league teams or these teams that we expect to beat and it's not there? For me, it ties into this contract thing. If they need this carrot, if this was Chelsea or if this was Man United or if this was Everton away, would it be a different result because they were absolutely up for it? I'm not questioning the energy and the effort that went into the game because I'm sure a lot of people will be angry with me for saying this. I feel like I could see effort and energy. It was the headless chickenness of the entire performance. You called it a basketball game. I couldn't agree more. That massively played into what Bournemouth wanted. They wanted a basketball game because that creates openings for them. I just think that the mentality has to be questioned. Something has to be done about the mentality. Why, lads? Why can you get yourselves up for Marseille away in Europe? Why can you get yourselves up for all these games, Inter away in Europe, and then show up away to Bournemouth and not put in the performance that's deserving of the team?
Where I'm really concerned though is that we focused on those two just there, but the issues are systematic beyond.
100%.
There's so many failings. So I'm really frustrated with the first goal in that Virgil, he's misjudged the ball, he's made a mistake. I'm not seeing the desperation then to prevent it, the follow-up when the ball's played into the cut back. We have the issue where obviously Gomez goes off, it's unfortunate. I don't know why we're so slow to make a change and then have ourselves down to 10 men, concede a second goal. But Virgil scored the goal, it's got us back into the game. Second half, we've managed to find an equaliser, and then we are so open. We're so open. It's shambolic. Now the manager's fighting some fires in terms of the absences, in terms of the injuries, but it's another game where the back four has ended up in tatters, midfielders filling in,
and some mad subs,
and a game where it just feels like we're just leaving it to chance against a side with such inferior resources.
I wonder, and I'm not sitting on the fence here, but I wonder how much the manager has to do with what's going on at 2-2, for example, because this is a mad thing to say, but you've got to think into account who's been on the football pitch when they're losing, and you're not listening to your coach, and you're fucking trying to go for it, and you're doing loads of mad shit. There's a chance where Veers goes through in the second half, and the shot on his right foot, the camera angle almost makes it perfect. You can just see this little, and we all know he's capable of it. My God, the goal that he scored against Burnley is just an arrow into the top corner. We know he's got the finish.
And his touch is brilliant, beating his man to get into the position.
I've said this on many shows. We've got players who are amazing at footy. I think that the mentality is just completely shot to shit, and I just think that the decision making is completely shot to shit. Rio and Gamoa comes on, and my God, can I just say, like, fantastic performance from Rio to come on in that situation. Hey, save the day, lad. He didn't quite save the day, but he got us a free kick that I think was only given because his boot came off. I think if his boot didn't come off, the ref's not even giving that.
Well, Ekitike was fouled moments before.
There's the foul on Ekitike, which is a foul against Ekitike, and then there's another one just after that as well, before the...
So, do you know what I'm sick of though? And it feels like every game was in it. It's the desperation.
And it's always desperation. And this is my thing. I'm not defending the manager because I think the manager has accountability to take here. But it's the desperation that's costing us goals.
Yeah.
And results.
How many games this season have you seen? 3 subs waiting to come on 70 minutes, 2 subs coming on. Like, we're changing the game and we're going for it. And to your point about basketball, we're making it basketball by doing all this thing. And like, listen, I'm definitely not in the headspace of let's get rid of Sloss or, you know, I want to slaughter him. I'm not quite there. But where I am is like, the players are just not performing well enough. We should not go to a Bournemouth team where, for everything we've spoken about before, these are not a low block team, and it was not a low block for that first 45 minutes. It was not a low block.
They let them get into low block because what they let them do is set every single time.
We let them go 2-0 up.
Well, after they went 2-0 up, what was mad was the amount of quick counters that we had. It was basically Burnley again. Quick counters that we had where we slowed it down. They get set. Oh, we're back to the horseshoe, back left and right. And I can't actually get it to Cody Gakpo because he's marked. I can't get it out to Mo Salah because he's marked. We don't have a centre forward on the pitch because Gakpo's out there, and Veerts is too deep because he's trying to get on the ball. There's so many decisions that don't seem to have been planned out. For example, if we're in this position, Veerts, just don't drop that deep to get the ball. Let's rely on Gravenberch and McAllister to drop deep and get the ball. They're very good on it. Don't worry about that. Get into positions and pockets of space that you could do something. If Cody's out wide and he's marked, he's trying to draw something in. So maybe it just seems like there's no contingency on.
Sorry.
I'm please talk on my behalf.
So we played well, right? First 25, 30 minutes without actually causing any threat to Bournemouth today. We've seen that so many times. Arsenal, second half. By the way, I loved our performance against Arsenal second half. There was never any threat there. Like, I don't know, Isak's injured, but that should not be an excuse for Liverpool FC to not have threat against an opposition. We should always pose a threat.
He's chosen to start without Ekitike today.
Yeah, exactly.
And people will say, we look tired towards the end of the Marseille game. Yeah. I don't want to see us starting a game with Cody Gakpo leading the line.
It's so predictable. Everything is predictable. We do a very good job of getting to the final third, by the way.
Can I just say, though, I'm going to get absolute daggers for this, and fine. In the manager's defence, Ekitike is absolutely fucked on 60 in Marseille, and Isak is in plaster cast. If Isak's in the team and he's not in plaster cast, it's not an issue. I do feel for him, and he does talk about injuries, and people think, yeah, but you've not got that many injuries. But if you've got 2 of your right backs out, for example, and Dom's playing right back, and you're losing that in midfield, and then Dom's playing winger, and you're losing that, there is permutations that mean that there is a little bit of a leeway that needs to be given to selection. I was actually of the view that resting Ekitike was a clever move because, like I've said earlier, Bournemouth tire in the second half of the season, and Bournemouth are in an injury crisis, have no one to bring on, and Bournemouth don't have their top goal scorer anymore because he plays for Manchester City and he scored today, and Bournemouth they've got this injury crisis,
but he played for Manchester City
and they tire, but. Who would you rather come on? Would you rather Ekitike tires on 60 and we bring on Cody Gakpo, or would you rather the other way around? Because in hindsight, it's very easy for us to sit here and be like, you start Ekitike, and of course there would have been more energy there, and of course he would have been better as a number 9 because he is a number 9. I think that was the clever play. What I don't agree with is at half-time you bring on Andy Robertson for Kerkez, because Kerkez didn't look like he was flagging to me. From what I can tell, he wasn't injured. I get the Frimpong one because he's just back from injury. His hamstring, a hamstring injury is something that can just recur and recur and recur. But the Kerkez one, I thought he was providing plenty with. He was doing very well in an attacking sense. Robertson looked just a little bit rusty for me. And listen, there'll be shows where I'll be able to sing his praises because not many people will believe this, but he's my favourite Liverpool player ever for fairly obvious reasons. But ultimately, the subs were wrong for me today. It didn't seem cohesive and organised. But ultimately, I don't think that the Ekitike move was a bad play. I think that was a clever play for the circumstances that we're up against tonight.
But you mentioned Semenyo there. In the summer, Luis Diaz has left. He's not been replaced. It felt at one stage you're in the box seat for a player like that. Yeah. A player who is in incredible form, provides a goal threat, exactly what we're missing.
Plays both sides.
Looks
great with both feet.
He looks in many ways the closest thing in the league currently to a Sadio Mane.
Yeah.
And for one reason or another, Liverpool either haven't gone for him or he's chosen Manchester City over Liverpool.
I think for me this is the biggest thing of this season and questioning. I know that the Anfield Wrap's questioned the suits earlier on in the season, and it needs to be looked at. And what's going on with Andy Robertson needs to be looked at. And the way that we recruit needs to be looked at, and the bench needs to be looked at. And if we get a manager in that plays kids, fine, fair enough. I'm kind of like, okay, I understand why we're not bringing anyone in. But the manager doesn't play kids. He's thrown Endo on for the first time since his injury because he's absolutely fucked it, and there's nobody else that can play centre back. We've got what Konaté's going through at the moment, and our condolences to him. He's backed into a corner and he's put Endo in there. I think my biggest problem is to get people into form like Andy Robertson, who came on and looked rusty. You need to be playing him in more games. You need to have foresight to realise I'm going to have to make some changes here and bring people on that I don't necessarily want to bring on. But it's going to keep them fresh. It's going to keep them going.
But Slot refuses to rotate. He refuses to use his squad.
Refuses to rotate, and this is why a lot of my credit's going towards Rio and Gamoa. You cannot block a pathway of someone that you do not plan to play, and he did not plan to play Rio and Gamoa in any way, shape or form, unless it's Hail Mary and throw in the kitchen sink. And my God, has the kid come through. I mean, I'm not being funny. He's an 18-year-old kid, and he's been thrown on in situations where he's been asked to win the game. Newcastle being the one that's forefront of our minds, and he's come on and done really, really, really well. And I think that's really unfair to be able to have to do to actually, is he 17? I think he's 17,
yeah. So my biggest observation of our downfall, if you want to call it that, this season, and me and my mates who are sitting next to every week, we have this conversation very regularly, is that we've just not got enough killers, right? And what I mean by that is, Sadio Mane was a killer. We'd be playing not very well, and there'd be a half chance that he'd just score, bang, 1-0, and then it'll just relax everyone else. Luis Diaz was a killer. He scored a lot of our first goals last season. He would always be the guy that it breaks away, bang, 1-0, and we haven't played that well, but we're 1-0 up, and all of a sudden everyone relaxes. I look at the team now, and I just don't think we've got anyone of that nature in the team. Isak might become that.
To be fair, Wirtz has got that, I think. That tenacity and that energy and that will to win. And
he's not a player with a killer instinct in front of goal. He's not a player with aggression. He's not a player with pace. For me, we're lacking so much aggression and pace and an edge. I just think we look a soft touch. I think it's another game today where Alexis McAllister just hasn't imposed himself in any way.
I agree, yeah.
On the match. I think it's a game where Liverpool have just come up so short of the standard that we expect against a really, really poor side.
You don't know where the goal's coming from, so we scored from two set pieces today, which is, fine, brilliant, well done. But actually, the teams that we've grew to love and watch over the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, for a fact, even going back to the Benitez team with Torres in, you would always be comfortable if you. So we were 2-1 down at half time there. If I'm thinking about the teams that I know and love back from the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, maybe even going back to that Torres team, you go, right, we've got at least 2 goals in us.
And is it goals from set pieces? No,
exactly. And I look at the teams there and go, I just can't see where the goals come from. I just can't see it.
Yeah,
goals from set pieces. Like I understand the value in them, but if that's your only option, that's a real concern. That's a real worry. I don't want us to be. I don't want us to be Arsenal. Oh yes, we've got a fucking corner. I don't want to be celebrating when we take a shot and a keeper saved it and it's a corner. I want to see serious threat from open play, and I think the biggest issue that we've got at the moment is when we're in the final third, and there's an opportunity there and someone's in. It's no, we're going to slow things down and let them set. And that's a culture issue. That's something that the manager must be putting on the team for whatever reason, whether he thinks the only way through at the moment is a set piece goal or not. I'm not sure what's going on, but that needs to be looked at. That can't be the only way through for Liverpool Football Club.
I think the issue for me is that the issues are so widespread, from the sporting director to the manager to the players. We've not gone into the season with all the options that we needed. I don't think the manager's acquitted himself well at all in his use of the resources at his disposal, and so many key players for the Reds just haven't shown up. So many times last season where Salah would just bail us out, where he'd get one or two chances and he'd finish. To me, at no point today did he look a threat in the slightest. And this is the team that he scored 12 goals against in 12 games, the team that Salah's routinely taken to the cleaners. He looks all but finished at present.
Yeah, I mean, he does, and we spoke about it before on the whole contract thing, but all I know is that these results are not acceptable for Liverpool Football Club. It doesn't matter if you've just won the league, it doesn't matter if you're going for fourth, it doesn't matter whatever you're doing. If you play for Liverpool Football Club, if you manage Liverpool Football Club, if you're a director of Liverpool Football Club, these results are not acceptable. And we're going through a phase of unacceptable results. And it's so weird because we'll get beat today, which is obviously last minute and it's painful, and yeah, you look at the stats and we controlled the game, blah blah. No, it's a results business, so we need to win. End of story. We'll probably beat Karabakh on Wednesday, and then that buys everyone a bit of grace. And then you get into next week, Newcastle, 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. You'd expect Liverpool, whoever they're playing on 8 o'clock on a Saturday night, to win, and it just buys you a bit of grace. And actually, I'm just thinking like something at some point needs to be done. And again, I mentioned it before, I'm nowhere near slot out. Like that's not what I want to do. I don't think any Liverpool fan or team or whatever it should be like, let's get rid of the manager. But I am in a situation where something needs to change, and we can't go on like this. We can't go on not winning games that we should be winning. We can't go on having performances where we cannot see where the goal's coming from. We can't go on playing players that are just going to continuously be predictive and do the exact same thing that everyone knows they're going to do, including the opposition. And I just feel like something needs to change. And again, it's not the manager, in my opinion. That might be the thing in the season, whatever. It's a mindset thing, and something needs to change soon.
I totally agree with that. I know we're struggling for the time, so the last thing I'll say is I just don't want us to give up on the league. Like, that's not good enough for me. Just being good in the FA Cup and good or reasonable in the FA Cup and reasonable in the Champions League is not good enough for me. It needs to be. I need to see signs in the league as well.
No, it's never good enough. Champions League qualification is a must. It's a minimum for this Liverpool squad, and it's embarrassing. It's a pathetic situation that as the reigning champions we're even talking about the prospects of not qualifying for the Champions League and that being the target. It's another shambolic day for the Reds. It's another pitiful performance, and I can't agree more. Something has to change. It needs to change quickly because it's just simply not good enough.